Hey, Mama. So, if you've been listening to this podcast for some time, then you know I love email marketing. Connecting with my community through email is one of the most rewarding things I get to do. So, one question though that has come up for the mamas on my email list and even some of my clients is how to write engaging emails. You know, those emails that your subscribers look forward to hitting their inbox, ones that they can't wait to reply to. Well, today I have an expert, the expert at writing engaging emails on the podcast, and that is Jenny Roth. Jenny is a phenomenal copywriter and has the most amazing membership, the Email Insiders, which I happen to be a part of. And so in this episode, Jenny and I really just geek out about creating engaging emails, how to increase your email open and click rates, my experience as a member of Email Insiders, and so much more. Now, I know I say this a lot, but I am not kidding you. Grab a notebook and pen for this episode because Jenny shares all the tea on email marketing. Also, if you want to check out her amazing membership, I do have an affiliate link you can use. So check it out below in the episode description or head on over to the show notes. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Hey, Mama. Are you tired of feeling stressed and overwhelmed trying to grow your online business with your babies at home? You desire more flexibility in your day, allowing you to pour into your family, yourself, and your business without running yourself into the ground. Mama, you can build your dream business and do it in a way that fits your current season of life. And I'm going to show you exactly how. Welcome to the Mama Turned Mompreneur podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Singletary, daughter of the king, wife, mama of two, and life and business coach for mompreneurs. On this podcast, you will learn business strategies made for mamas just like you, who desire to be successful CEOs and fully present mamas without stress or overwhelm. So whether you're an entrepreneur who transitioned to a mompreneur or a mama turned mompreneur, I am here to support you. So grab your coffee, notebook, and pen, put in those earbuds, and let's dig in. All right, today on the Mama Turned Mompreneur podcast, I am sitting down to chat with a very special guest. I am interviewing Jenny Roth, and we are going to be talking about all things email, which is one of my favorite things to do in my business. So Jenny, welcome to the show. Please tell us about yourself, who you are, what you do, and all about your family.
Oh, thank you so much, Andrea. I'm so excited to be here. Like Andrea said, my name is Jenny Roth, and I am a copywriter. I primarily write sales pages and emails for female-led businesses. I'm a mom of three, and so this kind of all started when my kids were really small. I was thinking, what can I do for work while still being here with my kids? And so I've always loved writing. So that was at the top of my list. And I just kind of dove all in, pitching myself to write for magazines and blog posts. And I moved my way up to being the editor of a magazine. And the thing I loved the most about that was we would feature businesses in this magazine, a community magazine. And businesses would write to us and say, oh my gosh, thank you for doing that article on my business. We've gotten so much traffic. We've gotten a lot of inquiries. And my parents are business owners. I was raised by an entrepreneur. And so I loved that. I loved feeling like my writing was not just something I could do because I love to do it, but it could also help these people and these businesses I was writing for. And so I realized this was copywriting, started learning everything I could about it. And now my kids are all in school and I've been a copywriter for 4 years full time.
Wow, that's an amazing story. And especially to know that you came from entrepreneurs, so you got to see that growing up and everything. So let's dive into talking about emails and email marketing. So why would you say we should include email as part of our marketing strategy? Like, what are the benefits of email marketing?
Yeah, thank you. I love this question. And so I always think about it like this. I think a lot of business owners come into email with this like fear, obligation that we have to do it, right? Because everyone tells you, build your email list. Social media is not reliable. Email is where it's at. And we hear all these things and we see all these huge names and influencers in business talking about how great email is. For me, I feel like email is part of a strategy, but it has to start with first, you have to have a proven, tested offer, right? You have to have an offer that you've had out into the world and that people have bought and that people need it, that it's in demand. So you have to start there, having a proven, tested, in demand offer. After that, I think it's very important to have a strategy where you are getting that offer in front of the right audience, right? So just for an example, I'm just using off the top of my head, I'm writing a sales page right now for a health coach. And so a lot of her marketing strategy is, she's on the nutrition side of health. She partners with a lot of fitness coaches and a lot of like yoga teachers and a lot of like similar, but not the same audiences to get her offer in front of the right audience. So that's just an example that having a marketing strategy where you're like, where the people who need your offer are, I think is very, very important. So that the people who join your list, and then comes the email list, kind of step number 3, so that the people who join your list are people who are the right audience, who are interested in what you offer, interested in the solutions you provide. And so by the time you get them to your email list, you can feel really good about that. So for me, email is really, versus thinking about it like this thing, oh my gosh, I have to do it. I have to stop using social media. I'm supposed to be using email. For me, I've always thought of it as your inbox is such a personal place. To me, it's the closest thing to getting a handwritten letter from somebody, which we don't really do anymore this day and age. But so I always kind of think of email like, if I have this offer, I have the people who I know it can help. The email list for me is just this really close personal way to reach them, which gives me a lot of freedom too. There's no word count. There's no number of slides I can or can't use in email, right? So for me, it's just a really personal way to connect with my audience. That's how I like to approach it.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. I didn't even think about it as being like kind of you're sending a personal letter to your subscribers and everything. But yeah, definitely you can really build those connections, like a deeper relationship. Just even like some of my clients who are starting to do email marketing and they'll tell me, I got a reply to my email and they're so excited. And it's like, okay, people are actually reading these and they're encouraged by what I'm saying and everything. And so, yeah, I think that's like one of the best benefits of it. And so one question I know that often comes up for my clients, like regarding email marketing, is what do I actually say in my emails? Like, what can I actually say, like, depending on whether I am in the middle of a launch or, I'm in like a nurturing or engaging phase? Like, can you give examples of like both scenarios?
Yeah, of course. This is such a good question. I think this is where most of us get tripped up when it comes to email. Like, we're on board. We know it's something we want to do. So start there. You have to enjoy it. Start there. And know it's a process. I've sent a lot of like cringe emails. Like if I look at emails I sent to my list like 2 years ago, I would probably be like, what was I thinking? So just know that it takes practice. You do not have to be perfect. The only reason someone unsubscribes from your list is they just don't need the offer that you're selling. Like it's not something they need. So it's not something you've said or did, or you sent too many emails. I just want people to know that it takes practice. And the more you enjoy writing to your list, I think the better your emails will be. So to go with that, the practical side of things, whenever you write an email, this formula, I kind of follow it and it makes it so much easier for me. So in the copywriting world, we call it the rule of 1. So if I'm going to write an email, I first sit down and think, okay, who is my one reader? Like just imagine if my one reader for this email. And this is very hard because every time I say this, people are like, but I have many readers. And I'm like, okay, but we're just going to write this email to this one reader. And if you have many readers, those are more emails. Okay. So that's good. You have more content in there. So pick one reader for your email, pick one topic. Like what is the one topic this email is going to be about? And pick one call to action. What is the one thing you want them to do? Is it reply? Is it click on your blog post? Is it go to your sales page? Is it fill out an application? Whatever that is, start there. And so for me, when I write my emails, often I will even write that call to action part first, because then I'm like, okay, I've done it. I've asked them to do the thing, which is often the hardest part mindset wise. So that part is done. Great. We can move on. So figure out your one reader, your one topic, and your one call to action. And once you have that, I do have a formula and it's just like 5 steps if you want to walk through like actually getting the email out. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. Amazing. So once you have your one reader, your one call to action, your one topic, I kind of have a formula that I use for writing any email. And this can be sales, or if you're just in the nurture engagement phase where you want people to reply or read a blog post or listen to a podcast episode. So I kind of start every email, think of it with like that personal connection intro. So you have your topic. Let's say your topic is starting flowers from seeds, like just for an example. So you could come in with the intro, like either a personal, like little anecdote about you or one of your clients as it relates to this. And this does not, people freak out here. I don't mean you have to tell like a lawn story or anything like that, but you could just come in and be like, oh my gosh, it is almost March here in the Midwest. I'm so excited to start these seeds indoors. Last year, I tried a few things that didn't work. And, just like your personal or a client's personal story on the topic, just to make that connection right up front. So that's the first part. And again, it can be really short. So the second part of the formula then is you're going to call out their desire, which basically means like what you're going to say, like what they want, right? So if your topic is starting flowers from seed, you're going to be like, maybe you have always wanted to start flowers from seed because XYZ, right? You're really talking to that reader. Okay. So just get that out there, like that, what they want kind of thing. Okay. So once you have that, then you go into what's stopping them. But you've tried starting them, from seed in the past, and you don't have the right lighting and you don't have the right windows, and they always die the minute you put them out in the ground. Like whatever your clients go through, basically, whatever is stopping them from doing this thing, that's part 3 of your Part 4 is you're going to show them what's possible instead, right? So, but like when you start these flowers from seeds and you do it this way, you're going to have this beautiful garden. You're going to really paint the possibility of what can happen. And then you're going to close out your email by simply presenting them the solution, right? Or your pitch, your offer. So in today's blog post, I'm walking you through 3 mistakes people make when they grow flowers from seeds. Click here to read it. And it's going to help you do these things. So I very roughly outline all of those sections of my email. And then I go back and I edit it and make it nice. So the first draft I do this when I write emails for myself or my clients is so scrappy. I really just fill in those 5 parts, and then I go back in and kind of like put it together with the flow.
I absolutely love that. Because I find that like getting the thoughts out first helps so much. And then, like you said, you can go back and clean it up, make it nice and pretty before you send it out and everything. But how you broke it down, like it really simplifies the writing process, because I think that's where people get stuck. Like, well, one, what do I actually write? But how do I do it in a way that it'll actually flow and make sense to my readers and will be engaging and everything? And so thank you for sharing that formula. It's not as hard as you guys think. So if you implement this formula, it will definitely help you. So another question I have is like, people also get stuck on, well, what if I run out of topics for my email? And so what can we do to always have like a running list of email topics?
Oh, that is such a good question. So one thing I do to always have a running topic of email idea or a running list of email topics is I always have this, it's very simple. I either have a notebook or a Google Doc up on my computer screen every day. And at the end of the day, I just jot down things that happen to me, like wins, things going on in my personal life, things that happen in the business, things that I learned in the business, maybe things that didn't go so well. Things going on with me as a mom, things going on with me as a running coach, things going on. I actually do love to garden. So just business and personal life things. I just write down this list of topics, or maybe I'm out somewhere with my family and I see something, or we have an experience that reminds me of something, I kind of just keep this running tally of ideas. And when I sit down to write to my email list, I have that up and I can remember, oh yeah, that is a topic I wanted to talk about. And so it really helps me to separate, the topic creation, writing, and the editing. To me, those are 3 different things. So if you struggle to keep up with topics for your email list, I would take a block of time to just generate topics. And then when you go down to write your emails, you can be like, okay, I'm in a writing window. You can follow the formula we talked about. And then you can take a break or come back the next day and edit. So never try to write and edit at the same time. Those are 2 different skills. Just get that ugly first draft out, because you cannot edit a blank page. So get it out and you can always come back and polish it up later. Another thing to do to generate topics is think of questions you get asked. Think of questions you wish your future clients were asking you. Think of objections you hear. I want to work with you, but answer all of those. I'm trying to think of some other ideas. Share client wins. You cannot go wrong sharing client wins as many and as often as possible. Answering questions, overcoming objections, answering client wins. And then another way to generate topics is to think of like if you have a course, a program, a membership, a coaching one-on-one, a service, think of every part of that process from when a client starts with you till the end and take each little piece out of there and write about it. Why is this part of your process? How does this benefit your clients? So really going deep into not just like what you do, but how you do it and telling people about it. I think that'll give you some ideas. I hope.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a really great strategy, and I've heard of that before, of like just really taking some time to reflect on your day and just any little thing that came up, jotting it down, because I mean, you are doing storytelling in your emails and everything, and so when you can make those personal connections, I think that makes a world of a difference. And then yeah, like looking at, you're like working with your clients, different things that have come up, your ideal clients, like what questions may they be asking and everything, or even just like those DM conversations that you have come up, you can answer those questions in an email. So, yeah, those are a lot of great ideas to generate email topics. So speaking of client wins, what would you say is like the most effective way to share like a client win, a case study, or even just testimonials?
Such a good question. I have a few different ways I like to do it. So if I'll share a couple of them with you. So if you're in the middle of a launch or even an evergreen offer and people are signing up, I love to do this email where as people are signing up, you highlight who's joining the offer now. This is really great if you have like a group program or a membership or a course. Because you can, in the middle of your launch, send out like, look at these 3 people who just joined. Here's who they are. Here's what they're hoping to achieve. If you can see yourself in this room, I'd love to have a conversation with you, kind of thing. It really kind of shows people they can see themselves as your client by seeing who else is getting in the room with you. And I think it's just also a really sweet way to like showcase the people who are working with you and give them a great shout out too. You can link to their Instagram or their website as you do this. And it also kind of shows the people who are thinking about signing up, like, oh, hey, I also have the same goal, or I'm also kind of in the same position. Maybe this is a kind of group I want to be in. So you can highlight your clients live in a launch. I think that's a really cool thing to do. You could also do a client takeover, which is really fun. Have one of your clients take over your email list and be like, hey, I worked with Andrea. This is my name. Or you might have been expecting Andrea to show up today, but this is my name. And I just wanted to pop in and tell you about my experience, which is really cool. And then, of course, there's just like the I don't know if old fashioned, the traditional way to do it that we've all seen, where you have a great subject line, like, saying like how this mom started her podcast in 30 days, or how this mom of 2 launched her podcast in a week, or whatever result you got that client. And then just go straight into it. Client name came to me because she wanted this result. She was struggling in these areas. And when we worked together in this offer, here's what we were able to do for her. If you'd like similar results, click here, apply to work with me. So I have more ways to do it, but those are the 3 I can think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, those are amazing, especially the client takeover. I've never thought about that. Like I've done kind of like an email collab where me and a group of other mom business owners, we basically highlighted each other to our list. But I never thought of doing a client takeover. Like that just gave me a good idea. So thank you for sharing that.
You're welcome. I love that idea because you can ask clients to do that and give them something in return, right? You could say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm doing these client takeovers. Would you be interested? Another 30-minute consult. Or, you know what I mean? You can really be really giving with them too when you do that ask. So yeah, I like that idea too.
Yeah. Okay, so we kind of covered well, I guess we could talk about it a little bit more. So I know we talked a little bit about like your framework for writing sales emails and everything. But I know you had said like you have like a simple framework for writing those sales emails. So like, is there anything you want to add to that? Or I don't know if it may be a little bit different than the other framework you've shared.
I think the framework is the same. Yeah, whether
Okay.
you're writing a sales email or an evergreen email, it's definitely the same. But just like if you have a cart open and close period, like you're actively trying to fill something, I think use that formula and just make sure when you're in that launch period that your emails are answering again client objections, overcoming those objections, answering questions, and sharing client wins. I think it's also really important in that launch period to have, I call it the red carpet offer tour email. So basically, this is what this offer is, and here's what's inside. Like getting into the nitty gritties of it, because we get really caught up talking about the benefits and the wins. But I really believe you need an email in that launch. That's like, this is what this is. Okay. Like it's 12 weeks and these are the calls and these are why you need these calls. So having that in there. And of course, just, cart open, cart close, announcing it and letting people know the deadline's there. So I think if you do those things inside your launch with that formula, that would be my best recommendation. Yeah.
Okay. And like
Yeah.
talking about like sending email, like the frequency and stuff like that. So let's
Yeah.
start with like when you're in the middle of a launch. I've heard mixed things about how often you should be emailing your list. And I know people can get really sensitive about like how many
Yeah.
emails they should be sending a week, and especially like during a launch. And so I would love to know your thoughts. Like, how often should we be emailing like when we're in the middle of a launch?
Yeah, such a good question. Don't know if there's a right or wrong answer. I'll just give you like my thoughts on it. And so for me, it depends on your offer and your audience. So if you're selling business to business, I feel like you can email more frequently because, like if I'm getting a launch, I know that I'm a business owner in the online space. I know that this person's going to email me a lot during their launch. I'm
Yeah.
prepared. But if your customer or your client is maybe somebody not in the online business space, just somebody who's not used to getting 3 emails a day from one person, I think it could, you want to consider that too.
Mhm.
Another thing, at the top of the launch, I always like to say like, I'm going to be talking about this offer for the next 2 weeks as we launch. You're going to be getting more emails than usual from me. Thank you for being here, just kind of letting people know like, hey, I'm launching. You can really use your preview text. So you have your subject line, you have your preview text. You can really use your preview text to just let people know like offer name is open or offer name closes in 2 days. So people can really see like, and they can choose right away, like, oh yeah, she's launching this thing. Like if they're interested, they'll open. And if they're not at this time, they'll just wait until emails go back to normal. And so as far as the number of emails to send, I think send as many as you need to do all the things to answer. So so don't take one email to answer all objections or one email to answer all questions, right? Each objection that your clients have, each question they have is its separate email. So whether, it depends on how many like objections you feel like you need to overcome, how many major questions you want to address, how many client case studies you want to share. That will all determine how many emails that you have. So just instead of thinking about how many emails do I need to send, I think the focus should be like doing all of those key things really well that you should do in a launch, and however many emails it takes, it takes.
I love that perspective. Yeah, because you do have to kind of gauge your audience and everything. One of the things I also do as well is like letting them know that, where I'm going to be talking about this offer. And then if they're not interested in hearing about it, they can click here to opt out. No hard
Mm-hmm.
feelings or anything like that. I think
Totally.
also giving your list that option too, because like you're right, like some people, they just may not be ready right now, or maybe they already bought the offer and it's like, well, I don't need to buy it again. So I think, yeah, those are really great strategies for navigating that. And
Mhm.
then how often should we be just emailing our list in general?
Yeah, I would say as often as you can enjoy it and feel consistent with it. Because I think if you can do it start once a week, that's great. I have a lot
Mhm.
of colleagues who do a monthly email, who do a biweekly email, right? Um, I like to email my list more, like, 2 to 3 times a week. That's just personal preference for me. So I'd say as often as you can enjoy it and can be consistent with it would be your best bet there. And also to think about the goal of your email list, right? So if you if your email list is just this place where you like to share kind of behind the scenes fun things in your business, it's not really a place where you want to actively sell.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. A bi-weekly, a monthly newsletter might be great. But if you are funneling people onto this email list because you know you have a launch coming up in the next month, I would say think about your strategy and your goal of your list there and consider emailing them definitely more than that then, so that they're not getting one monthly newsletter and then this full on
Yeah.
launch. So I just would say, don't be afraid to email your list. I think there's this misconception, like we're not afraid to post on social media every day, but when it comes to email, we're really afraid to email people.
Yes.
But I think just email them again, as much as you can enjoy and be consistent with it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that you brought up thinking about the purpose,
Yeah.
because I don't think people always think about that, because it's true. It's like you send an email maybe once a month, and then, okay, you're in the launch, you're sending like 20 emails in a week. And
Yeah.
people are like, who is this? Why
Who
are
are
you
you?
emailing me so much? And then that's when you see a lot of unsubscribes. And so if you're taking that time to actually nurture your list and engage with them and sending like an email once a week. So then when you're in launch mode, they're not going to be shocked. They're going to know who you are and all of that. So yeah, really getting clear on the purpose of you building this email list and what you actually want to do with it and allow that to kind of drive your frequency is definitely important.
Yeah, you said it exactly. In order to buy from you, people have to know you. So you think about that, right? If people, I always think about this too when it comes to subject lines. Um, People always really worry about their subject lines, and we can talk more about that too. But when you open things, yeah, you're opening what it is, but most of the time when I open emails in my own inbox, I'm looking at who it's from.
Yes.
When I decide who I'm open, what I'm going to open. And so think about that. Like if you want your subscribers to know you, to enjoy getting your emails, to build that relationship with them, yeah, I would consider emailing them once a week, twice a week, before your launch. And I just think it's just good practice, like Andrea said, for that like trust factor.
Yeah, definitely. And let's go ahead and talk about email subject lines because I do think this is something that trip people up too. So, what are your tips and strategies for, writing? I guess I want to say like subject lines that are going to encourage your subscribers to open the email.
Yeah, such a good question. So the hardest time I ever have when I write subject lines is when I try to write the subject line first. I don't know why I always do that to myself. Think I have to do that first. Write your email first because your subject line is probably in the email. It's probably a sentence from your email, a tidbit from in the email. So don't make the same mistake I always do and try to write it first. And another thing, like we just talked about, remember people are looking at also who it's from, right? So what the email is about does matter, but don't put so much pressure on it that you feel, I don't know. It also, they're opening it because it's from you, right? And they want to hear from you. And just make sure that your email subject line, whatever it is actually in the email, right? So don't do like a bait and switch. And I don't feel like many people do that anymore anyway, but that's just really important too for that trust factor. And so a couple email subject line formulas, just result, like a result driven subject line. So 30 days to a podcast launch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hire your first OBM, right? So whatever result you're talking about in that email, just pull that out into the subject line. You could do the question subject lines are always great. Like, which microphone do I use when I start a podcast? Or how do I pick the best platform for my podcast? Whatever that question is for your subscribers, pull that out into your subject line. How to subject lines are great. How to do this thing always is a good one to fall back on. And that I kind of think about like the why subject line. So why, and then whatever challenge your reader might have, like why is nobody listening to my podcast? Why is nobody opening my emails? So those are just some good formulas to follow. Having it in mind that your subject line is likely in your email already.
I love that tip. I'm like you. I always try to write the subject line first because I feel like, I don't know, just like I think the order in which it is, I'm like, I have to start with the subject line, but I'm going to try to wait, write out the email first and then do the subject line because I literally will spend some time like pondering, like, okay, what should the subject line be? So I
Honestly.
like that tip.
Yeah, I do that to myself all the time. I don't know why. Yeah.
Okay. And another thing I want to talk about too is because I know this is like one of the big things people think about is open rates and click rates. And so do you have any strategies for increasing those? But also too, like how important are our open rates and click rates, especially if we are using our email to, drive sales and everything?
Yeah, I love this. I think industry standards are 20% for an open rate, and I cannot remember, it's like 1 to 3% for click rates, I think. And so I think a better way to think about it is overall sales of your campaign, right? And so there's different conversion rates. So depending on your price point of your campaign and stuff like that, like if you're selling a $10,000 offer versus a $97 offer, like these are going to be different. But as far as like increasing open rates, yeah, that matters because the more people that open your email, the more people read it and can click. And I think the best way to increase open rates is to have that like trust factor, like we're talking about, to send really good emails consistently to your list so that people enjoy, like they know every time they get content from you, it's going to be something they want to read. And having those subject lines, like we just talked about, that are, they know if you tell them, hey, when you open this email, you're going to get a podcast strategy in 30 days, that is what's going to be delivered to them. So having like consistent, good, true subject lines and email content, I think is the best way to increase open rates. Also making sure that the people that are getting on your list, again, like we talked about, are your ideal audience. Like you're getting them from places, finding people who actually are interested in the services you offer, I think is really important. And then click rates is the final piece of the puzzle. And to increase click rates, I always think it's very important to write your emails from an energy of, my solution is the solution, right? And so instead of making your pitches at the end, like if you're interested, click here, kind of mean at it more with the energy, like when you join this offer, I'm going to help you launch this podcast, or you will have a fully launched podcast in 1 week. And when you do this, this is why it's going to be incredible. And this is how you're going to feel, and get started here. We have limited spots, start here. So I think your pitch in your email is like the most important part to boosting the click rates, and to kind of, again, take out that language of, I'm going to show, or you're going to learn, I'm going to teach you, if you're ready, are you ready? No, just coming at it with that energy of, when we work together, here's how your life's going to be. Here's the results you're going to have. I'm so excited to work with you on this. Like, you can do this. Let's go. Kind of energy for me, I feel like helps click rates the most. And so just make sure you have that clear offer promise, and you're selling it at the end there.
I love that. And it's something I also teach my clients when it comes to like selling in their podcast. Like, don't wait till the end of the episode to sell your offer. Like, talk about it at the beginning, in the middle, and all of that. But also, like what you said too, like going into it confidently, knowing that your program, your offer is the solution that your ideal client needs, and like speaking to that in your email content. I noticed that when I really started to switch the language I was using, I started to see those click rates go up and everything. So there's definitely a connection there.
Love that. That's so cool. That's good advice for your podcast too.
Yes. Okay, so I want to talk about your amazing membership, Email Insiders. Full disclosure, I am a member. I am constantly talking about this membership. If you are on my email list, you have heard of it. I refer my clients to this membership. I've even had a client share that she was able to write an email in 10 minutes using one of your email templates. And so tell us all about Email Insiders.
Well, thank you so much. That makes my whole day. Email Insiders it's an email template membership. And so at the top of the month, and we're always adding more stuff to this, at the top of the month, you get 4 to 5 email templates. They're sales emails, they're newsletter templates, a combination of each, so that you can schedule your emails for the month and have those done for you. So they're really plug and go, but they also leave a lot of room for you to add your own details and like creativity to the email. So I have some members in there who just take the prompt for each email and run with it. And then I have members in there who are new to writing emails, and they literally use like the fill in the blank prompt, and it really helps them as they get more comfortable writing emails. And then with that, we also do do quarterly email sequences. So at the top of every quarter, at the bottom of every quarter, we do a new email sequence template. And right now we have launch, Black Friday, welcome, abandoned cart, webinar show up. We have a vault of other copywriting templates like sales page and different website pages and stuff like that. So yeah, I just really created it because like the conversation you and I are having is I had this email list. I'm mostly a done-for-you copywriter service provider. I had this email list. I knew a lot of people on there were not ready to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on a copywriter, but they needed help writing their emails. And I wanted to help them. So I thought, okay, I knew these people on my list, where they were and who they were. How could I make an offer to help them? And that's kind of where Email Insiders came to be. So that kind of ties into knowing the people on your list and making offers that can help them. And I absolutely love it. So yeah, thank you for speaking kindly of it.
No problem. I've been part of a few different email template memberships and everything. And what I love the most about yours is that you do it in a way where it's easy to kind of infuse your own personality into it. Even just thinking about my client, she literally just started emailing her list, and I'm on her email list, and her emails are amazing. I'm like, which one of Jenny's templates did you use? But you do it in a really great way. But I also love too that you incorporate ways to easily sell in your email. Because I know that's something that comes up a lot for people too. It's like, well, how do I sell? Where do I start talking about my offer? And you just make it so easy with your templates and everything. And it's clear that like you put a lot of thought process behind these templates, even just like the themes for each month and everything. And so, like I said, I'm always talking about this membership because it is amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I write for a lot of people. And when I see emails that are working on these big campaigns I'm writing for, I'm like, I want to template this out and make it available so other people can use this strategy and adapt it. And like we talked about, like there's always going to be a call to action in these emails. So,
yes.
Whether that's so.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for just taking the time to chat with me about all things email. I know my listeners are going to gain so much from this conversation. But before we get off, please share with my audience can connect with you and learn more about your services.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been so wonderful, and I love talking emails, so thank you for having me. You can find me. I have a free resource. It is a collection of 6 email templates and a calendar that shows you how you can make your own email marketing strategy. So we can leave that in the show notes, maybe. It's also on my website. My website is jennyrothcopywriting.com, and that's also where I am on Instagram as well as Jenny Roth Copywriting.
Okay, and I will make sure to link all of that in the show notes. Well, thank you again, Jenny.
Thank you so much, Andrea.
No problem. Well, Mama, that's a wrap on today's episode. Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day to hang with me. If you enjoyed today's episode, will you do me a favor and follow the podcast and leave a review? Hitting that follow button and sharing your thoughts about the podcast are the best ways to ensure that other mamas like you find this show. Your review also lets me know if you're enjoying this podcast, so make sure to share your thoughts before you go. All right, Mama, I'll catch you in the next episode.